Namaste and Vanakkam. Thank you. So, Namaste and Vanakkam. Thank you RSS Professional Mandali for inviting me. Thank you Ravi Kumarji for your august presence. My dear Hindu Bandhu, thank you for attending this evening. I know some of you may not be Hindus. I know there are a couple of names which are Christian or Muslim whom I had invited to this program, but I consider everyone a Hindu because that's your tradition. The topic of today's evening is what every Hindu ought to know about Christianity. That's the title of my book as well. But before that, the question, why should we care and why should we know anything about another religion? The answer is that's the Hindu tradition. If you go back to the ancient texts like the Manimekalai or the Nyaya Manjari written by Jayantabhatta, that's what you find. Every one of the religious ideologies examined. They use the tools of Nyaya, they use the tools of the various Pramana, they use Purvapaksha to evaluate every other religious ideology. They accept some, they reject some. Of course, Purvapaksha cannot be used for every competing religious ideology because here have a common set of Pramana or a common set of instruments of knowledge. So you cannot do a Purvapaksha on Christianity or Islam. But Hindu traditions give you other tools to examine those religions also. Jayantabhatta wrote another book called Agama-Dandara. In Agama-Dandara he says, we can just rely upon Nyaya to examine another religion, and if we find it to be harmful, we can ridicule it, we can reject it, and we can also use the government to suppress that religion. I am not a very good speaker or a very good writer, and I am not saying this out of humility. Because of my many vices, humility is not one. But I am a good analyst. I know how to use the tools of Nyaya or logic and the tools of science to examine an ideology, whether it's a religious or a social ideology. And that's what I'm going to bring it out today. But I'm also sure that most of you are here to listen to me not because I have a good style of speaking. If that's what you are looking for, then if it is style without substance, you would have gone on YouTube and listened to an Obama lecture. Or if it is neither style nor substance, then a Rahul Gandhi speech. But most of you are here because you don't care about style, but you care about substance, you care about analysis. That's what I am going to present today. Let me also warn you, some of you may become very uncomfortable hearing some of the views I articulate. But let me assure you, it is my intent to make you uncomfortable. Because this is a hot summer day and most of you have traveled and you are going to spend the entire afternoon listening to this program, the least I could do is to bring you out of the comfort zone. The reason, I respect you. I respect you as an intelligent person. I do not want to sugarcoat anything. I want to pull no punches. I present the facts, I present the analysis. You do not have to agree with me. I am not seeking anyone to follow me. I am not seeking anyone to agree with me. But what I am looking forward to is you will take the points I present, you will explore further, you will think about it, and then you will formulate your own opinion of Christianity, the subject of our discussion today. Hindus have traditionally been very tolerant. Other religions came to India more than 2000 years ago, Judaism being the oldest. There is a book called Who Are the Jews of India? It's written by Professor Nathan Katz. So Nathan Katz says, everywhere in the world the Jews were persecuted, except in one place, in India. Among the Hindus, they were treated like royalty. The Jews reciprocated. The Jews came to India 2000 years ago. They probably came as refugees. They flourished. They kept their religion, they kept their traditions, their language, everything. And they reciprocated in kind. In 1948, when Israel was formed, the Jews had the option to go back to Israel. Many of them did not. More than 1100 of them fought in Kashmir when the Pakistanis invaded India. The second group that came to India was the Parsis. The Parsis came around the 8th or the 9th century. They settled down in what is called Iraq today. And once again, the Hindus protected them. They nourished their traditions. The third group that came to India is the Christians. So we do not know the exact date when they arrived. They arrived sometime in the 6th and the 12th century. All we know is they were there in the 12th or 13th century because Marco Polo talks about them. Then came the Muslims. The Muslims once again came as traders, but around the 10th, 11th century they had also come in as the invaders, and then they had settled in large numbers in India. Then in the 20th century we had the Tibetan Buddhists who came to India as refugees. So here is something very interesting. Every other group, the Jews, the Parsis, and then the Tibetan Buddhists, have all reciprocated the goodwill and the gesture shown by the Hindus. They reciprocated in kind. They were nice to us in return. However, we do not get the same reciprocation from the Christians and the Muslims. Why is that? This is a hard question you have to ask, and this is the question you have to find the answer. So in today's conversation, the first part of my discussion is broken into three parts. The first part is the intolerant minority. The second part is what makes the Christians an intolerant minority. And the third part is what should we Hindus do about it. I am quite close to me. I am more audible now? Okay, sorry. So the first one, an intolerant minority. We are generally informed that it's the minority which feels insecure because the majority will impose its choices on the minority. This is what the media tells us, this is what the secularists tell us, and this is what we have been taught traditionally. The truth is exactly the opposite. There are two important scholars, whenever you get the chance, you should read their work. One is Nassim Nicholas Taleb. He is a statistician and he is the author of Black Swan, but he has written a more recent book. And his more recent book is Skin in the Game, Hidden Asymmetries in Life, which came out a couple of days ago. And the other one is a French physicist, a theoretical physicist. His name is Serge Galan. Serge Galan worked in the space of quantum field theory. And then he took a lot of those principles and he applied them to social sciences. And he applied them to politics and religion. And he explained why somebody behaves the way they do. But the starting conclusion both of them reached is that the minorities always impose themselves on the majority. Or almost always. That's what gives us the hope. A couple of months ago, I was watching a cricket match, and during the lunch break, I was just flipping the channel, and I was watching with a friend of mine. And then we landed in one of the channels by the Chennai-based chef Venkat. And he was cooking some meat dish, which I don't care about, I'm a vegetarian, but there was something which he told which was really interesting to me. He said, all the meat which is sold in Chennai, and I presume in Tamil Nadu also, is halal. And most of you will know the difference between halal meat and jatka meat, right? Halal meat is what Islam prescribes. So you have to bleed the animal to death. Okay? That's when you get halal meat. Okay? And jatka meat is in one type, you kill the animal, right? So my friend was really surprised. He asked, how is this possible? How does a 12% minority impose its choices on the 88% majority? I was not surprised because that's exactly what Nassim Nicholas Taleb explains in his book. So here is what happens. You have a group of 5 friends, right, and you want to go to a restaurant, and one of them is a Muslim. Okay, the other 4 are Hindus. The Muslim is an intolerant and intransigent minority in this case, and the Hindu is flexible majority. So the Muslim says, I will only go to a restaurant where they serve halal meat. Okay, you will pick that restaurant. Because you don't make the difference. You are ready to eat halal as well as non-halal. Now the restaurant person is running a business, right? And he knows if he were to serve halal meat, he will get everyone. But if he serves non-halal meat, he will not get the Muslims. So slowly they start expanding the footprint, and then the choice of the intransigent minority is imposed on the rest of society. So Serge Galan explained why Trump was going to win the election. He did that roughly 6 months before Trump won the election actually. He said, it starts with a small minority which will take advantage of the polarized society. It will say, this is the only person I will vote for, I will not vote for anybody else. And then you have a majority which is divided, which is a little bit more flexible, and that's why Trump was good. So Nicholas Nassim Taleb takes Sergi Galam also. They both take a concept called fractal. Some of you may have heard of that, but I'm not going to get into the mathematics of that. But think of it this way: a fractal, a good example of that is Mandelbrot said. Right? A fractal is a complex structure which is made up of underlying components are very similar. Right? You take small pieces. A very good example is how you build a building. Every brick looks similar, right? But you can arrange the bricks in one way, and then you can build a balcony, or you can arrange the bricks in another way, and then you can build a water tank. So the outcome may look very different, but underlying components are very similar. So the way the minorities impose themselves is, each one of them, it's called similarity. Okay, they try cutting similarity, and then they try to dissipate what is called divergence, and then they keep on imposing their one set of views on everyone, and the politicians, the media, the business, everybody complies, and then eventually what you have is a minority rule. So this just explains why the minorities are eventually going to win in most of the cases, but it's not always the case. I'll take a few examples and talk about it, which actually gives us hope. Okay, which gives us hope why we may end up prevailing at the end of the day. But what makes Christians an intolerant minority? There were a couple of incidents recently. So there was one by a pastor called Vincent Silverage. There is a YouTube video, I think posted that a couple of days ago on my Facebook wall. He quotes a biblical verse. And this verse says, in that verse, the God of Christianity, which is not the Hindu God by the way, and the God of Christianity says, he will topple the temples and places of worship of all the rival religions. And this pastor in Tamil Nadu, he says, and he shows the pictures of all the various temples, like the Madurai Meenakshi temple and other temples. He says, by the mercy of Jesus, every one of these temples will be toppled, and all the deities, all the vigraham, everything we are having will be toppled and destroyed. Okay? And they actually show the graphics in that video. In Sri Rangam temple, there were a group of nuns who did what is known as prayer walk. Okay? So Christians, from the very beginning, 2000 years ago, Christians have been doing what is called prayer walk. They will go to the places of worship, temples of rival religions, and they will take the Bible out, they will curse the gods of the other religion, and then they will pray to Jesus to destroy their places of worship and their gods. This is something the great Emperor Julian, who lived in the 4th century, who tried to destroy Christianity and who tried to bring back paganism, recounts at length. So a group of nuns went to Sri Rangam temple, they did this, they were caught by the security guards and the others, and they were sent out, but they still did it. And yesterday there was another news which was published, a temple near Tambaram, near Sanatorium. A group of Christian Protestants, they went and they did the same thing. And in Tanjavur, I think this happened about a couple of weeks ago, a group of Christians stopped a 1,000-year-old procession, right? That is a ceremony that happens where there is a procession, then eventually the deity is taken and it is immersed in the tank. They stop all of these and they erected a gate, preventing you from going any further, even in the coming years. So here is the question: what makes the Christians intolerant? There are 3 reasons. Reason number 1, and this is where most of you are going to feel very uncomfortable, because I am going to present something which is against the common perception, but it is also against what most of our own religious leaders have said. But regardless, I have a lot of respect for our religious leaders, starting from Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, all the way up to the present day leaders like Sri Ravi Shankar and others. But when I say something, it's because I have greater commitment to truth, as much as I have respect for these religious leaders. So don't mistake me for what I am present on. So what makes Christians intolerant? And before I answer the question, there may be a thought that's running in your mind. You are wondering, not every Christian is a fan. Some Christians do this prayer walk, some Christians want to destroy Hinduism, but how can we generalize and how can we blame every Christian? Here is my challenge. Show me a single Christian who comes out and says, these things are wrong. Whatever the Bible says about other religions, the intolerance other Christians are showing is wrong. I do not want to be part of that. I will not be part of a church which is doing these things, which means he or she is not really part of the Catholic Church or the Protestant Evangelical or Seventh-day Adventist or any of the churches. Show me a single Christian, you will not find one. Because every Christian falls into one of the two categories. Either the Christian is a fanatic or the Christian is ignorant. But even the ignorant Christian falls in line with the rest of the congregation. So from our perspective, every Christian seeks the destruction of Hinduism. And what are the reasons? 3 reasons why Christians are intolerant. The first reason is in the very nature of Christianity. Christianity as a religion is very different from Hinduism. So in Hinduism you have Siddhanta. Okay? Siddhanta is a set of philosophy where you explain what is the end goal. It may be moksha, it can be anything, or you have bhakti traditions where experience matters, or you have the Guru Vakya. Okay? What the Guru says becomes very important to you. So Hinduism is either based on experience or traditions or philosophy. That's not the case with Christianity. Christianity is a religion of in-group morality coupled with out-group hostility. What does it mean? This is a concept that comes from evolutionary biology, and one of the biologists, John Horton, explains this at length. And I have written about that at length in my book as well, but let me give a summary here. Christianity, rather the Bible, divides the world into 2 groups, the in-group and the out-group. The in-group is made up of believers, and the Bible repeatedly talks about what these believers are entitled to. These believers are the chosen people. They are chosen by God to rule the earth and eventually to rule the heaven as well. The other one is the out-group. The out-group are the non-believers. The non-believers will have to submit to the Christian believers, and the non-believers can be killed. Then the non-believers will eventually, when Jesus returns, there is an event called the second coming of Jesus. And that's a very fundamental belief in Christianity. Christians believe that Jesus will return, and the Bible talks about that. The book of Revelation has a detailed narrative of that. When Jesus returns, he will torture the non-believers for 5 months on earth. Then he will slaughter every one of them. Then he will load them on the hellbound cargo post-mortem, and they would be tortured in hell for eternity. Which means every one of us sitting here and all of our children would be tortured for 5 months, then killed, and they would again be tortured in hell for eternity. And there are many books in the Bible. The Bible is an anthology, right? It's made up of multiple books. There are several books which talk about the plight that God has envisioned for non-believers. So, for example, the book of Joshua says, when you find the city of the enemies, you not only besiege them, you not only defeat them, you kill every man, every woman, and every cattle. No life should be left standing. The Bible calls it the harem warfare, and the name may sound very similar to haram. Okay? So the word haram, or the Islamic harem, and harem all have the same linguistic roots. All of them are cognates. All of them carry the same meaning, something which is forbidden. Harem warfare is waged against those people who are forbidden to enjoy the pleasures and the wealth of this world. It belongs to the Christians. 1 Peter 2nd book talks about how the Christians are the chosen people. And in the book of Matthew, Jesus talks about how Jesus will make all the non-believers, they are called heathens, all the heathens will be made to submit and kneel down in front of the non-believers. So Christianity has a very clear fate reserved for the non-believers. We are not even human, we are barely above cattle, and then we will be subjugated in this world when Christianity gains an upper hand, and then we will be tortured and killed, and then we will be tortured in eternity forever. So we have heard of a lot of genocides and other things that happen historically. The most famous of that, or the infamous of that, is the Holocaust of the Jews, which happened during the Second World War. The Nobel Prize winner himself talks about the Holocaust at length, and he says it did not happen in a void. It is the product of a religion which prophesied it and which brought it to a fruition. And Norman Beck is actually a Christian theologian, and then he summarizes 451 verses from the New Testament alone, which are anti-Semitic, which spew hatred on the Jews, and then Christianity conditioned Europe against the Jews for nearly 2000 years, and which finally culminated in the Holocaust. We have heard of Holocaust because the Jews are not shy of talking about the Holocaust. But the Jews were not the only people who were killed in the Holocaust. The Hindus were also killed in the Holocaust. 5 lakh Hindus. Okay. And then Hari Kumar ji knows that because he is also familiar with the history of the Jews and he has talked about Haifa. Who are these Jews? Who are these Hindus? The Gypsies. The word Gypsy is actually a very disparaging term. Okay? They prefer to call themselves the Roma. The Roma people are Hindus who went from India in the 8th or the 9th century. They actually fought the Muslim invaders, and many of them were taken as slaves, and then they were sold in Armenia and Iraq. And then from there, in fact, in the Armenian language, and many of these people belong to the Jat community. Okay? So Jats are today prevalent in Haryana and Punjab. And in the Armenian language, the word for these slaves is Zot, which is just a cognate of the Hindi word Jat. So thousands of them were enslaved. Thousands of them simply perished in the Hindu Kush. Those who made it were auctioned and sold, and the ones who traded in them were the Muslims and the Christians. And the Christians bought them, they took them because they were blacksmiths, they took them to Europe, and then they were treated in the most terrible manner possible. So Ian Hancock, with whom I communicated a lot, he's a professor of Gypsy Studies based out of University of Texas Austin, and he has written a lot of books, and he talks about a lot of terrible incidents, and one of them is how the Christians compiled a lot of fictitious stories about the Gypsies. They said the Gypsies, the Gypsy blacksmiths made the nail which was used to crucify Jesus. It's complete baloney, but it doesn't matter. Nothing in the Bible is true, by the way. So, but then they fabricated the story, right? And then they sang Christmas carols, and then they created songs and even lullabies. Okay? These lullabies are sung to babies in the cradle, and songs were taught to kids as young as 5-6 years old. And then the entire Europe was prejudiced against the Gypsies. And another reason why they were prejudiced against was the Gypsies were fortune tellers, they were astrologers. And then Christianity hated them because, according to Christianity, God has predestined you. And hence, the moment a fortune teller can tell what is in store for you and how we can remedy that, that goes against the vein of Christianity. So the Gypsies are hated, and 500,000 or 500,000 Gypsies were sent to the gas chambers in the Second World War, between 1941 and 1944. But then there was a genocide of Indians, of Hindus, which happened right here in India, which very few people are aware of. 1857. During the first freedom or the second war of independence, which we fought, a lot of Hindu women, there is a book called Operation Red Lotus, which was written by my friend Parag Tope, and Parag Tope is the great grandson of Tapia. And he describes, because in every war, in every battle, the most important thing is not the weaponry you carry. The most important thing is the logistics. So it was the Hindu women who provided the logistic support, because the soldiers will move quite discreetly and in stealth mode from one place to another to take on the British. British had superior weapon, Indians didn't. But it was the women who will float lamps and who will float lotus flowers. That's why it's called Operation Red Lotus. From one village to another, giving an indication of how many soldiers are traveling in a particular party, so that the women in the other village can cook food for them. So these soldiers travel light. Okay, they did not carry a lot of food, they did not carry a lot of caravan and other things. They travel light, they travel fast, and then they took on the British by surprise. And when the British eventually won, they hanged not the men first, but the women first. They cut off their breasts, and some of the women were clinging on, their babies are clinging on to them, and then they hanged the baby and the mother together. And now you cannot put a rope, a noose around the neck of two people. So which means you are not going to die right away. Okay, the infant as well as the mother suffocated to death over a long period of time. So the entire place from Kanpur to Meerut to Saharanpur and all those places were littered with the bodies of Hindu women hanging from the trees. In England, while all of this was going on, the British newspapers were vilifying the Hindus. They were vilifying Hinduism. And then they urged the British Crown, they urged the British military to wage head-on warfare against the Hindus. They said, do unto these Hindus what Joshua was ordered by God to do to the Canaanites. So Philip Jenkins, who is a professor at Pennsylvania, wrote about this at length in one of his books. So the first reason that Christians are intolerant is their own religion. Because their religion teaches them, their Bible teaches them, and Jesus teaches them to be intolerant of others. And most of the times Hindus are completely clueless. People like Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi has even written eulogistic words about the Sermon on the Mount, not knowing what it actually stands for. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus talks about the non-believers. He calls them swine. He says, do not throw the pearls in front of the swine. So everything taught there, love the neighbor and other things are meant only for the fellow Christians. It's not universal preaching. So Jesus very clearly says, all the others was fine, the non-believers was fine, do not throw the pearls in front of them. That's not the only place where he says that. In Mark 7:27 and 7:26, there is a non-Christian woman. She comes to Jesus. So Jesus in those days was a quack or a faith healer. He was like one of the frauds like Paul Dinakar and DJs Dinakar and all these characters today, right? No, I'm not kidding. That's what he was doing, right? So he will go and promise, look, I can heal you of every illness, I can bring you back to life and all these things. It doesn't matter whether Jesus existed really or not. Okay, I don't believe he existed. That's a different story. But the Jesus of the New Testament was a faith healer. And there was a woman, she was a non-Christian, she goes to Jesus. Her daughter is dying. And this woman says, Master, heal my child. And Jesus says, in Mark 7:27, he says, my mercy is only for my children. It's not for the dogs. So the non-Christians are called dogs. And then this woman begs Jesus, your child may be entitled to the bread on the table, but even others are entitled to the bread crumbs that fall on the floor. Okay. Then this is a table situation. Now think of it in today's context. Let's say there is a Brahmin doctor, and who's rich, and then he's a cardiologist, and then a young Dalit woman who's extremely poor, she brings her child to this doctor and says, my child is dying of heart disease or heart attack, and please save my child. And if he says, I will only treat other Brahmins, okay, and the rest are dogs, I am not going to treat you. What will we call him? Number one, this person will be rightly vilified. And number two, this person will be called a casteist. Three, his license will be taken away. But when this person is Jesus, Christians call him Son of God. So Jesus very clearly sets the example. He considers non-believers subhumans and fit for destruction. The book of Revelation has a very clear narrative of what Jesus will do upon his second coming, which I've already told you. He's going to torture every one of us in here. Now, think of yourself, if you are a Christian, and if this is what you were raised to believe in, you are not going to think positively about Hindus. You are not going to think that Hindus are even human beings. Because either all the Hindus must convert to Christianity, or they are anyway going to be tortured and killed. And that's what happened to the Jews, that's what happened to the Gypsies, that's what happened in 1857 to the Hindus. And there is absolutely no reason why this will not repeat again if we do not acknowledge this reality. What's the second reason? The Christians are intolerant. The second reason is that Christians believe that the Bible is the word of God. It is immutable. In fact, the Bible itself says whoever adds a word to this or subtracts a word from this will rot in hell forever. And the Bible cannot be interpreted. It's meant to be a literal text. And any Christian who believes that the Bible is true, it's the word of God, will have to accept that all the Hindus are fit for destruction. And Hinduism is an evil religion, and Hinduism has to be destroyed. And Hindus themselves, if they do not convert to Christianity, are fit for destruction. That's the second reason why Christians are intolerant. And the third reason is Christianity is a mimetic virus. So what does a mimetic virus mean? So do you know why your daughter or son looks like you? Because they inherit your genes. Right? So they inherit your genes, that's why they look like you. Or they look like your grandmother or whatever it is. Have you ever wondered why is that your daughter or your son speaks like you do? Right? Their accent is similar to your accent, and then or the accent of their friends and the accent of their teachers. Right? They do not talk like Americans. They do not talk like the British, or they do not talk like Scandinavians. They talk like the group in which they are raised. Why is that? Because children copy how their parents or their friends or their teachers talk. That's why our accent is exactly like how our parents talk. Or have you wondered about fashion? So why do we wear a certain fashion? Why is that nobody is wearing what we used to call, bell-bottom trousers, right? That existed in the 70s or whatever. And we are wearing, more narrow trousers today. Because this is the fashion of today. And why is that very few people, I think only around 1 is having a tough in this entire audience. And why is that? Because today it's no longer the fashion. Okay? So, just like our biological traits are inherited through genes, the biologist Richard Dawkins proposed the idea that social ideas are copied from one to the other through memes. It's spelled as M-E-M-E and it rhymes like gene, but this is how ideas are copied from one to the other. And there are two types of memes. There are good memes and then there are harmful memes. So most of the memes are beneficial. Okay? That's how we learn about various events, that's how we acquire knowledge. But there are also memes which are extremely harmful because these memes harm the host. So there is a very good researcher, a scientist, her name is Susan Blackmore. She propounded a brilliant idea. She said the memes are competing for space, okay, and the human brain is the space. Okay, they occupy that, and then they can warp your view of reality. So, for example, if I came and told any of you, I am the son of God or I am the grandson of God, okay, and everyone should hand off half of your wealth to me and all of your pretty daughters to me, okay, what will you do? You will beat me up to death. And rightly so, right? Because the first thing you'll ask is, where is the proof you are the grandson of God? Okay, and who is this God? Now, when do you stop asking these questions? You stop asking these questions when your view of reality is gone. You no longer think rationally. Okay? At least when it comes to religion. When it comes to religion, your worldview is completely changed. You go by, this is what my Bible says, this is what Jesus says, and I am not going to challenge this. And everything that's there in the Bible has to be right. And if the Bible says something, that has to be true, that has to be moral, and everything that's not in the Bible is immoral. This is the same mindset that the jihadis also possess. So we often wonder, why is that a jihadi is going to blow himself up or he's going to set a bomb and kill children. But that's because he thinks he is doing something morally correct. Because his world is warped, he doesn't have a normal compass of reality, and he goes by what is there in the Quran and the Hadith, and then he thinks he's doing something correct. This is the third reason why the Christians are intolerant. Of course, they do not realize that they are being intolerant. They think that they are being true Christians, and that's correct. They are being true Christians, and you can be a true Christian only by being intolerant. Yeah. The 3 points are, the first one is Christianity is a system of in-group morality coupled with out-group hostility, which means it divides the world into in-groups and out-groups. And in-group is what we protect, that is Christians, we protect them. And an out-group, which is non-Christians, you destroy them. The Bible have dozens of verses and all the commentaries expose this. Number 2, Christians believe that the Bible is the word of God, and since the Bible teaches these things, they believe this is correct and this is exactly what they should follow. The third reason, Christianity is a mimetic virus. It just like a virus afflicts you, and then you cannot think normally after that, or your body cannot defend itself anymore. A Christian has no defense against the mimetic virus, and once he is infected, then he or she is going to behave as an intolerant person. This brings us to the third and the final part of the speech. How should we confront Christianity? And this is where you are going to feel most uncomfortable. The first missionary came to Nagaland, or the northeastern part of India, in 1871. So he converted the first Naga, and then through that Naga he started converting the others. And still, by the year 1911, by the year 1921, even until 1931, on an average, there were roughly 10 to 12% Christians in all of Northeast. And something very interesting happened in the 1930s. Couple of things. One was there was the Great Depression in America and Europe, right? And they were not exporting Christian missionaries to Northeast anymore. And there was no money flowing from America or England into Northeast. So there were fewer missionaries. And two, there were some freedom fighters like Rani Ganiyu. She was a Naga freedom fighter.